everybody. I'm Alice K. Ruckelhaus from Suffering Well and from the How Initiative. Although this is not a How video, I wanted to share with you from my prayer time this morning. And first of all, yes, I got out of bed. I forgot to when I first got out of bed, but when I went and got dressed, I remembered to say, "This is the day that you have made, Lord. I will rejoice and be glad in it." And um, I was really, really stressful when I first woke up. I have something looming over me that's just huge and kind of scary. And I just felt like the stress just went away, because I acknowledged God in that moment. But that's not what this is about. What I wanted to tell you about, and this may be remarkable to some of you and not remarkable to others, I don't know. But to me, this was like, wow, I just love this. And so I wanted to share it with you. So I was praying my rosary this morning, and we're on the glorious mysteries today. And I was on the third glorious mystery, which is the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And it occurred to me something that never hit me before. And again, maybe everybody else out there has thought of this, but I didn't. So let me go back just a little bit, and not just because it's Christmas time, but let's go back to the Annunciation, where Gabriel comes and he talks to Mary. This is in Luke 1, and it's verses 26 through 38. But the really, really important verse for what I'm going to say is where he says in verse 35, okay, the angel answered and said to her, "The Holy Spirit will come upon you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. For that reason also the Holy Child will be called the Son of God." So the Holy Spirit came upon her, which is something that has never happened to any human being before and never happened since. And as a result, Jesus was conceived, which in itself is just really, really cool, because Jesus didn't just come down as a man. He didn't just come down even as a baby. He started out with the very, very first cells multiplying and everything, those ones that people think aren't a person. And he chose to go through our entire human experience. Okay, but that's not even the point of what I want to make here. That's the Annunciation. My point is Mary's experience with that she had this one of a kind, extraordinary experience with the Holy Spirit that we have no clue what it was like. But he overshadowed her. He came upon her and overshadowed her. And so then, though, today, the third glorious mystery is the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. And, you have in chapter 1, you have, they're talking about who was in the upper room. The apostles, they were continually devoting themselves with one mind to prayer, along with the women and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and with his brothers. And it says that there was a group of about 120 people there. Okay, so then in Acts 2, right after that, it says, when the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly, and remember, this is Mary, the apostles, and a bunch of other disciples. They were all together in one place, and suddenly a noise like a violent rushing wind came from heaven, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. And tongues that looked like fire appeared to them and distributed themselves, and a tongue rested on each one of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with different tongues as the Spirit was giving them the ability to speak out. What just struck me there, and I just feel like this should have been so obvious, so maybe it has been obvious to all of you, but what struck me was she had had this extraordinary, one-of-a-kind experience with the Holy Spirit. And now, 33 years later, I guess 34 years later, she was experiencing the Holy Spirit again. She already knew him very intimately. And she was experiencing him again. Could you imagine how joyous that must have been? It was life-changing for all of the apostles and the disciples. But for her, she already knew him. And then to be able to welcome him back permanently and be his vessel, like we're his vessels. That I don't know, that just struck me. I have no lesson from this. I have no, great application, but just thinking in awe of what that must have been like. That's all I wanted to share. And if you haven't already said, this is the day that you have made, Lord, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Say that right now. Let's say it together. This is the day that you have made, Lord. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Okay. And if you haven't listened to the songs from today's video, the one about, I think it's called The First How Habit, in the description box, there are 3 songs, 2 or 3 songs, I think 3 songs. Listen to those. Just spend some time with God, just worshiping and praising Him. The last song is about Jesus. It's not really a prayer, and so, but you're gonna dance. Yeah, I can hardly walk, but I'm like dancing to it because you cannot help it, and that gets your day off to a good start too. Okay, I love you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.